Dominic Walker's hands froze on the mahogany desk of his corner office. He couldn't breathe, couldn't blink, couldn't look away from the security camera footage playing on his laptop screen, because there on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta was a little girl selling handmade friendship bracelets, and hanging from a silver chain around her neck was his asterisk watch, not just any watch, the Patek Philippe, rose gold, obsidian face. The constellation pattern he'd had custom-made to match the sky the night his mother died. The watch he'd given to a woman named Isla 8 years ago during one perfect night that changed everything. And then he'd run from like a coward. Dominic's executive assistant knocked and walked in without waiting. Preston Cole, his best friend since they were kids in East Point, took one look at Dominic's face and stopped mid-step. The Goldman Sachs people are waiting in conference room B. They flew in from New York specifically for. Cancel it, Dominic said, his voice barely above a whisper. Preston blinked. Excuse me, cancel everything. Dominic was already grabbing his jacket, his 6'4" frame moving toward the door with purpose he hadn't felt in years. I need to go. Where? Bruh, this is a $300 million deal. Your biggest acquisition yet. You've been working on this for 6 months. But Dominic was already in the hallway, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the marble floor of WalkerTech's headquarters. Preston jogged to catch up. Dom, what the hell is going on? Dominic didn't answer. He couldn't, because if he opened his mouth, he might say something he wasn't ready to admit yet. That little girl on the security camera. She had his eyes, his chin, his mother's smile. And if his math was right, if that watch meant what he thought it meant, then Dominic Walker, the man who built a $2 billion cybersecurity empire by always being in control, had lost control of the most important thing 8 years ago. The elevator doors opened to the underground parking garage. James Park was already waiting by the Bentley, phone in hand, driver's cap perfectly positioned despite the urgency radiating from his weathered Korean face. Sir, James said quietly, opening the back door. I saw the footage. I already have the address pulled up. Candler Park neighborhood, 15 minutes with current traffic. Dominic paused, one foot in the car. You knew. James's expression softened in that way it only did when he talked about his late wife or his daughter in Seattle. I raised my daughter alone after my wife passed, Mr. Walker. I know that look in a child's eyes, the one that's always searching for someone who isn't there. He gestured toward the open door. I suspected for weeks now. The cameras catch her every Tuesday and Thursday. Same corner, same time, same watch around her neck. Today, I finally saw your face when you noticed. Dominic slid into the back seat, his heart hammering against his ribs like it was trying to escape his chest. Preston jumped in beside him before James could close the door. I don't know what's happening, but I'm coming with you. You look like you're about to either throw up or commit a felony, and either way, you need a witness. Bentley pulled out into Atlanta traffic. Dominic stared out the window at the city he'd conquered, the skyline he'd helped build, the streets where his company's security systems protected half the businesses downtown. He'd spent 15 years proving he was nothing like his father. His drunk, disappearing, good-for-nothing father who walked out when Dominic was 9 and never looked back. And yet here he was, potentially the same kind of man, a father who didn't know his own child existed. Preston said carefully. Talk to me, man. What's going on? Dominic finally spoke, his voice rough. 8 years ago, I met a woman. Her name was Isla Carter. She was in Atlanta for a wedding. She did event planning. We met at a hotel bar in Buckhead. Preston waited. We talked for hours about everything, about my mom dying, about her dreams, about how scared I was of feeling anything real. Dominic rubbed his face. She made me laugh, like really laugh, for the first time since Mom's funeral. And we spent the night together, one perfect night. I gave her my watch, my mom's watch, the one I had customized, because she said something about time being the only gift that matters. Dominic's jaw clenched. Then I woke up at 4 in the morning, panicked about feeling something real, and I left. Just left, like a coward. I didn't leave a note, didn't leave my number, nothing. Preston let out a low whistle. Damn. I told myself it was better that way, cleaner, no complications. I had a company to build, no time for relationships. But that little girl on the camera is wearing my watch, and she looks exactly like my baby pictures. Dominic turned to face Preston, and for the first time in years, his carefully constructed mask cracked. Please, I think I have a daughter. And I didn't even know she existed. Car went silent except for the hum of Atlanta traffic outside. James's voice came from the front seat, steady and calm. Then you do what every father who made a mistake has to do, Mr. Walker. You show up, you stay, and you prove you're different than the man who left. Bentley turned onto a tree-lined street in Candler Park. The neighborhood was a world away from Dominic's Buckhead penthouse. Small houses with colorful shutters, chain-link fences. Kids riding bikes. Working-class families making it work. There, James said, slowing down. Corner of Clifton and Melrich. And there she was, a little girl couldn't be more than 7 or 8, sitting on an overturned milk crate behind a small folding table. Hand-painted sign read, "Friendship bracelets, $3 each or 2 for $5." She wore jean shorts with patches on the knees, a faded yellow t-shirt with a smiling sun on it, and purple sneakers with one lace untied. Her thick natural hair was pulled into 2 puffs on either side of her head, secured with bright orange hair ties. And around her neck, hanging from a simple silver chain, was the Patek Philippe rose gold watch worth $2 million. She had no idea. Dominic's breath caught. "Stop the car." James pulled over half a block away. Dominic sat frozen, staring at this little girl who was arranging her bracelet display with such careful attention, organizing them by color, adjusting the sign so it faced the street better. She was beautiful, smart, resourceful, and possibly his. "What are you gonna do?" Preston asked quietly. "I don't know," Dominic admitted. "What do I say? Hi, I might be your father who abandoned your mother before you were born. Maybe start with buying a bracelet," James suggested from the driver's seat. Dominic took a deep breath and opened the car door. The afternoon sun hit him as he stepped onto the sidewalk. He straightened his Tom Ford suit jacket, probably the wrong outfit for this neighborhood, and walked toward the little girl. She looked up as he approached, her brown eyes bright and assessing. Sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Hi, mister," she said cheerfully. "Want to buy a friendship bracelet? I made them all myself. That one's ocean colors, blue and turquoise and white. That one's sunset orange and pink and purple. And that one's forest, all different greens." Her voice was confident, clear. No hint of shyness. Dominic knelt down so he was at her eye level and his world tilted up close. The resemblance was unmistakable. She had his eyes, same exact shade of brown, same intensity. His chin, his cheekbones, but her smile, that was someone else's smile. Warm and open and trusting in a way his had never been. "Those are beautiful," Dominic said, surprised his voice worked at all. "You made all of these?" "Yep, I learned from YouTube. There's this lady who teaches friendship bracelet patterns and I practiced for like 3 months before I got good enough to sell them." She pointed to a particularly intricate one with a chevron pattern. "That one took me 2 hours. It's my best work." "Much for that one?" $5. "It's got metallic thread." Dominic pulled out his wallet and handed her a $100 bill. The girl's eyes went wide. "Mister, I don't have change for this. I only made $15 all day." Dominic said. "For all of them, I'll take every bracelet you have." She stared at the money like it might disappear. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious." "But why?" She looked suspicious now, her street-smart instincts kicking in. "Nobody just gives away money like this." "What do you want?" Smart girl, Dominic thought. She'd learned to be careful. "I don't want anything except the bracelets," he said honestly. Then, because he couldn't help himself, he added, "That's a beautiful necklace." Immediately, her hand went to the watch, protective. "Thank you, my mama gave it to me." Dominic's heart stopped. "Your mama?" "Yeah, she said it's special, that someone important gave it to her a long time ago." The girl tilted her head, studying Dominic with those sharp eyes. "Why are you looking at me like that?" "Like what?" "Like you're trying to solve a math problem or something." Despite everything, Dominic almost smiled. "What's your name?" Jordan Elise Carter." She pronounced her full name with pride. "What's yours?" Dominic Walker." "The building?" Jordan pointed vaguely toward downtown. "There's a big building that says Walker Tech on it. I see it when Mama drives downtown for work." Yes, that's my company." Jordan's eyes went even wider. "You own that whole building. Mama says that building is like 50 stories tall." 43, Dominic corrected automatically. "Whoa." Jordan started packing up her bracelets into a small shoebox, carefully layering them with tissue paper. "So you're like rich, not regular rich, like TV rich." "I do okay." "Then why are you buying friendship bracelets in Candler Park?" Jordan asked, that suspicious edge returning. Rich people shop at Lenox Mall, not from kids on street corners. This girl was too smart for her own good. Because, Dominic said carefully, I saw you from my car and something told me I should stop. That maybe I was supposed to meet you today. Jordan considered this, then nodded like it made perfect sense. Mama says the universe puts people in your path when you need them. Maybe I needed someone to buy all my bracelets so I can help Mama with the electric bill. She handed him the shoebox. Here you go, Mr. Walker, all 23 bracelets, that's, she calculated in her head, $69 worth normally, but you paid $100, so thank you. Dominic took the box, but he couldn't leave yet, couldn't walk away without knowing more. Jordan, can I ask you something? You just did, she said with a gap-toothed grin. But go ahead, ask another one. Mama, what's her name? Isla Marie Carter. She's the prettiest mama in the whole world, even when she's tired. Jordan started folding up her card table. She works 2 jobs so I can stay in my school and we can keep our apartment. She makes really good spaghetti and she sings when she cooks even though she can't really sing that good. Every word was a knife to Dominic's chest. Isla, it was her. And she'd been raising their daughter alone for 7 years while he built his empire and pretended he didn't run away from the best night of his life. Does your mama ever talk about your father? Dominic asked, trying to keep his voice neutral. Jordan's expression changed, became more guarded. Why do you want to know? Just curious. That's what adults say when they're being nosy, Jordan said bluntly. But okay, no, she doesn't talk about him. All I know is he gave her this watch and she gave it to me because she says I should have something from him even if he's not here. Do you wish he was here? Jordan looked at Dominic for a long moment. Really looked at him like she was seeing past the expensive suit and the practiced smile to something deeper. Sometimes, she finally said. But Mama says wishing doesn't change reality. Action does, so if he wanted to be here he would be. And since he's not, that means he chose something else, she shrugged. His loss, right? I'm pretty awesome. Dominic's throat felt tight. You're very awesome. I know. Jordan picked up her folded table. I have to go now. Mama gets off work at 5 and I need to be home before she is or she worries. Nice meeting you, Mr. Walker. Thanks for the $100. She started walking down the sidewalk, the heavy table tucked under one small arm. Dominic stood there frozen, watching her go. Preston appeared beside him, having stayed back during the conversation. That's your daughter, isn't it? Yeah, Dominic whispered. That's my daughter. What are you gonna do? Dominic watched Jordan turn the corner, disappearing behind a house with peeling paint and a garden full of sunflowers. I'm going to fix this, he said. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to fix this. James pulled up the Bentley. Shall I follow her, sir? See where she lives. Every instinct screamed yes, but Dominic shook his head. No, not like that. I can't just show up. I need to think. He climbed into the car. Take me home, James. But as the Bentley pulled away from Candler Park, Dominic kept looking back until Jordan Street disappeared from view. That night, Dominic couldn't sleep. He sat on the balcony of his penthouse, 43 stories above Atlanta, the shoebox of friendship bracelets on the table beside him. The city sparkled below, his city, the one he'd conquered. But all he could think about was a 7-year-old girl selling bracelets for $3 each to help with the electric bill. His daughter, his phone buzzed. A text from Vivienne Hartford, his fiancée. Dinner at Canoe tomorrow night, 7 p.m. The Vanderbilts want to meet you before the wedding. Don't be late, Vivienne. Beautiful, ambitious, perfect on paper Vivienne. They'd been engaged for 6 months. The wedding was planned for December at her family's estate in Connecticut. 1,500 guests. 5-tier cake, string quartet. A merger disguised as a marriage. Dominic stared at the text and felt absolutely nothing. Then he looked at the friendship bracelet he'd put on his wrist. The ocean-colored one Jordan said was her favorite, and he felt everything, another buzz. This time, Preston, you good, bruh? Dominic typed back, no, but I have to be Preston. What's the plan? Dominic stared at that question for a long time. What was the plan? Show up at Isla's door after 8 years. Say, hey, remember me. The guy who gave you the best night of his life and then ran away like a coward. Surprise, I just met our daughter. No, that wouldn't work. He needed to do this right. Needed to understand the situation first. Needed to. His phone rang. Unknown number. Dominic almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Hello, Mr. Walker. A woman's voice, tired, strained, familiar in a way that made his chest ache. Yes, who is this? This is Isla Carter, Jordan's mother. A pause. We need to talk. Dominic's hand tightened on the phone. Isla, Don't, she said sharply. Don't say my name like you have the right to, not after 8 years. How did you get my number? Jordan came home today with $100 bill and 20 stories about a nice man in a fancy suit who bought all her bracelets. It took me about 10 seconds on Google to find your face. Another 5 to find your office number. Your assistant was very helpful once I said it was urgent and personal. Dominic could picture her, angry, protective, fierce. The same fire she'd had 8 years ago when she argued with him about whether classic movies were better than modern ones. She'd been passionate about everything. It was one of the things he'd loved about her, loved, past tense, or was it? Isla, I didn't know, Dominic said. About Jordan, I swear I didn't. Of course you didn't know. You left before sunrise without even a damn note, Dominic. How would you know anything about what happened after? The bitterness in her voice was earned, deserved. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I was young and stupid and scared. I don't care about your excuses, Isla cut him off. I care about my daughter and now she's asking questions. Mama, why did that man look at me like that? Mama, why did he ask about my necklace? Mama, why did he want to know about my father? Guilt crashed over Dominic like a wave. I didn't mean to. Well, you did. You showed up in her life for 10 minutes and now she's confused and curious and I have to figure out how to protect her from getting hurt when you disappear again. I'm not going to disappear, Dominic said firmly. Isla laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's what I thought 8 years ago, too. Silence stretched between them, heavy. Loaded with everything unsaid, finally Dominic spoke. Please, let me see you, let me explain, let you what? Play hero. Swoop in with your billions and fix everything. Make yourself feel better about abandoning us. Us, Dominic repeated. So she is mine. Another long pause, then quietly, yes, Jordan is yours, biologically, but you haven't earned the right to be her father. That's something you have to prove, not something you get just because of DNA. Then let me prove it. Please, Isla, give me a chance to make this right. He could hear her breathing on the other end. Could almost picture her weighing the options, protecting her daughter the way she'd been doing alone for 7 years. Fine, Isla finally said, but not at my house. And Jordan can't know who you are yet, not until I decide if you're worth the risk of her getting attached. Where then? Ponce City Market. Saturday, 2 p.m. There's a coffee shop on the main level. Come alone. Be there. Dominic. Isla's voice hardened. If you hurt my daughter, if you make promises you don't keep, if you get her hopes up and then vanish, I will make sure you regret it. I don't care how many billions you have or how many buildings have your name on them. Nothing will protect you from me. Are we clear? Crystal clear, Dominic said. Good. She hung up. Dominic sat on his balcony staring at his phone, his heart racing, his mind spinning. Saturday. 2 days away. 2 days to figure out how to convince the woman he'd wronged that he'd changed. That he was ready to be the father Jordan deserved. 2 days to figure out if he could actually be that man. He looked down at the ocean-colored bracelet on his wrist. I won't let you down this time, he whispered to the daughter he barely knew and the woman he'd never forgotten. I promise. City lights sparkled below, indifferent to his crisis. Somewhere out there in Candler Park, Jordan was probably asleep, dreaming 7-year-old dreams, and her mother was probably lying awake, worried about the chaos Dominic had just brought back into their lives. He'd spent 8 years running from his feelings. Now it was time to run toward them. But what Dominic didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that Saturday's meeting would change everything. The question was, which would Dominic choose when the time came? His empire and his reputation, or the family he never knew he had, plus Vivienne is not the kind of woman who shares. And when she finds out Dominic has been lying, oh, it's about to get messy. Listen, I need you to do something right now. Hit that subscribe button, because this story is going to blow your mind. Drop a comment right now telling me, do you think Dominic deserves a second chance? Or did he lose his rights when he walked away 8 years ago? I want to know what you think. Saturday morning hit Dominic like a freight train. He'd barely slept in 2 days. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Jordan's face. Heard her voice saying, if he wanted to be here, he would be. His loss, right? Her loss. Not his, but she was wrong. It was absolutely his loss. Dominic stood in front of his walk-in closet, a space bigger than most people's bedrooms, staring at rows of designer suits like they held the answers to his life. What did you wear to meet the woman whose life you'd ruined? The mother of the child you didn't know existed. Tom Ford felt too corporate, Gucci too flashy, Armani too try-hard. Been standing there for 20 minutes, sir, James said from the doorway, a cup of coffee in his weathered hands. Might I suggest you're overthinking this? Dominic turned. What would you wear? James considered this seriously. Something that says you're taking this seriously, but you're not trying to impress her with money. She already knows you have money. That's not what she needs to see. What does she need to see? A man, James said simply. Not a billionaire, not a CEO, just a man who made a mistake and wants to make it right. He nodded toward a simple navy button-down and dark jeans Dominic barely remembered buying. That be a person, not a corporation. Dominic pulled out the outfit. James was right. He was always right. James, can I ask you something? Of course, sir. When your wife died. When you were raising your daughter alone. Did you ever feel like you weren't enough? James's expression softened with old pain and hard-won wisdom. Every single day. My daughter would cry for her mother and I couldn't fix it. I couldn't bring her back. All I could do was show up, make breakfast, help with homework, attend every school play even when I was exhausted. He met Dominic's eyes. Being enough isn't about being perfect, Mr. Walker. It's about being present, consistently. That's the part most fathers get wrong. If Isla doesn't give me that chance, then you earn it. One day at a time, one choice at a time. James headed toward the door, then paused. And sir, take off the Rolex, wear a regular watch, or better yet, wear nothing. Time doesn't need to be expensive to matter. After James left, Dominic stared at his wrist. The Patek Philippe he usually wore cost more than most people made in a year. He took it off and left his wrist bare. Somehow it felt right. Ponce City Market buzzed with Saturday afternoon energy. Couples strolling hand in hand. Families with strollers navigating the crowded aisles. The smell of fresh pizza mixing with gourmet donuts and artisan coffee. Dominic arrived 15 minutes early, a lifetime habit of controlling situations by arriving first. He ordered a black coffee he wouldn't drink and sat at a small table near the window, his back to the wall so he could see the whole space. Classic defensive positioning. Preston would have laughed at him. 2 o'clock came. Then 2:05. 2:10, Dominic's coffee went cold. Maybe she wasn't coming. Maybe she'd changed her mind. Maybe I almost didn't come. Dominic's head snapped up, and there she was, Isla Marie Carter. 8 years had changed her, but not in the ways that mattered. She was still beautiful, maybe more so now, with tiny lines around her eyes that spoke of laughter and worry in equal measure. Her natural hair was pulled back in a simple bun. Wore jeans, a soft green sweater, and canvas sneakers. No makeup except a hint of lip gloss. No jewelry except small silver hoops. She looked tired, really tired. The kind of tired that sleep couldn't fix, but her eyes, those warm brown eyes he remembered from one perfect night, they were still fierce, still sharp, still capable of seeing right through his carefully constructed walls. Isla, Dominic breathed, standing so fast his chair scraped loudly. Sit down, she said quietly. People are starring. He sat. She slid into the chair across from him, keeping the small table between them like a fortress. For a long moment they just looked at each other. Dominic's mouth went dry. You look, don't, Isla cut him off. Don't do the small talk thing. Don't tell me I look good or ask how I've been. We both know how I've been. I've been raising your daughter alone for 7 years while you built your empire and forgot I existed. The words hit like punches, accurate punches. I didn't forget you, Dominic said quietly. Not once, not ever. Isla's jaw tightened. Then you're either a liar or a coward, not sure which is worse. Coward, Dominic admitted. Definitely coward. I was 28 years old, my mom had just died, and I was terrified of feeling anything real. You made me feel everything, Isla, everything I'd been running from. And when I woke up that morning next to you, I panicked. So you left. So I left, he agreed, shame coating every word. I convinced myself it was better that way, cleaner, no complications. He laughed bitterly. Turns out life doesn't care about your 5-year business plans. Isla's eyes glistened, but she blinked back whatever emotion was rising. I tried to find you, did you know that? I spent 2 months searching, calling every Dominic in Atlanta, going to hotels, asking if anyone remembered a man who stayed there in June 8 years ago. Dominic's chest constricted. Isla, I was 3 months pregnant and desperate. I thought maybe you'd want to know, that maybe you weren't the kind of man who'd abandon his child. She leaned forward, voice low and fierce. But you were, you are, you just didn't know it yet. That's not fair. Isla's voice rose slightly, then she caught herself, glancing around. When she spoke again, it was quieter but no less intense. You want to talk about fair? Fair is working 2 jobs while pregnant and trying to finish my degree. Fair is giving birth alone because I couldn't afford to fly my mama up from Savannah. Fair is explaining to a 4-year-old why she doesn't have a daddy when all her friends do. Every word was deserved. Every accusation was true. Right, Dominic said. About all of it, I was selfish and scared, and I destroyed something beautiful because I was too broken to see what I had. He leaned forward. But I'm here now, and I want to make this right. You can't make this right, Dominic. You can't buy back 7 years. You can't. She stopped mid-sentence, her hand going to her chest. Isla, are you okay? I'm fine, she said quickly, but her breathing had changed, shorter, shallower. Not fine, what's wrong? It's nothing, just, she took a slow breath, just stress, it makes my condition worse. Dominic's stomach dropped. What condition? Isla looked away toward the crowds of happy families shopping and laughing. That's actually why I agreed to meet you. Not because I want you in Jordan's life. I'm still not convinced you deserve that, but because, her voice cracked slightly, because I'm sick, Dominic, and I need to make plans for what happens if I don't get better. World tilted. How? What are you talking about? Lupus, Isla said flatly. Systemic lupus erythematosus, diagnosed 3 years ago. Some days are okay, some days I can barely get out of bed. Some days my joints hurt so bad I can't pick up my own daughter. She finally looked at him and the exhaustion in her eyes was crushing. I've been managing it with medication, but it's getting worse. The kind of treatment I need. It's expensive, really expensive. Expensive. Dominic was already reaching for his phone. Stop, Isla said sharply. I'm not asking you for money. Then what are you asking for? Asking. She closed her eyes. I'm asking if something happens to me, if the lupus gets worse, if the treatment doesn't work. I need to know Jordan won't be alone. My mama is 63 and has diabetes. She can't raise a 7-year-old by herself. Understanding crashed over Dominic like ice water. You want me to take her? I want you to be a backup plan, Isla corrected. Not a father, not yet, maybe not ever. But a legal guardian who can provide for her if I can't. Dominic's hands shook. A backup plan. If I want more than that, the words came out before he could stop them. What if I want to be her father, real father, not just a name on paperwork? Isla's expression hardened. Then you prove it. You don't get to swoop in and play daddy because it makes you feel better about your guilt. Jordan is not your redemption project. That's not what, isn't it? Isla challenged. You saw her once. For 10 minutes. Now suddenly you're ready to be father of the year. Where was this energy 2 years ago when I was sleeping in my car between jobs because I couldn't afford rent and medication both? Where was it when she had pneumonia and I had to choose between the emergency room and keeping the lights on? Each question was a knife. I didn't know, Dominic said helplessly. Because you didn't want to know. You made yourself unreachable. You built your fortress and your fortune and convinced yourself you were better off alone. Isla's voice broke. Well, congratulations. You won. You got everything you wanted, and all it cost was knowing your daughter. Silence fell between them, heavy and suffocating. Dominic wanted to argue, wanted to defend himself. But what defense did he have? She was right about everything. What do I have to do? He finally asked. Tell me what I have to do to prove I've changed. Isla studied him for a long moment. You really want to know? Yes. Show up consistently. Not with money or gifts or grand gestures. Just show up. Spend time with Jordan. Let her get to know you as a person before she knows you're her father. Prove you won't disappear the first time things get hard or inconvenient. She paused. Can you do that? Can you be consistent, Dominic? Or are you still the man who runs when things get real? Not that man anymore, Dominic said firmly. Then prove it, starting now, starting today. Isla pulled out her phone. Jordan has a science project presentation at school Monday afternoon, 3:30, Mary Lynn Elementary in Candler Park. If you want to start showing up, start there. Don't tell her who you are yet. Just be there, watch her shine, see who she is when she doesn't know you're watching. Dominic's throat was tight. I'll be there. We'll see, Isla said, standing up. She swayed slightly, catching herself on the chair. Dominic shot to his feet. Isla, I'm fine. But she wasn't. Her breathing was labored, her skin slightly ashen. Let me drive you home. I drove myself. Then let me follow you. Make sure you get there safely. Don't need, she stopped, reading something in his expression. Fine, but you stay in your car. You don't come in. You don't meet Jordan yet. She's at my mama's house this weekend, so you don't have to worry about her seeing us together. Okay, they walked to the parking garage in silence. Isla's car was a 15-year-old Honda Civic with a dented bumper and a missing hubcap. Dominic's Bentley was parked 2 spaces away, gleaming and excessive. The contrast said everything. Isla saw him looking at her car. "Don't," she said quietly. "Don't you dare feel sorry for me. I've kept us fed and housed and safe. That car runs, and that's what matters." "I wasn't." "Yes, you were." She climbed into the driver's seat. "Follow if you want, but Dominic, if you're doing this to ease your guilt, save us both the trouble and leave now. Because Jordan deserves better than a father who's here out of obligation." She drove off before he could respond. Dominic climbed into the Bentley, his mind reeling. James was waiting. "How did it go, sir?" "She's sick, James, lupus. And she's been dealing with it alone while raising our daughter." Dominic's voice cracked. "She's been choosing between medication and rent, between feeding Jordan and treating her illness. And I've been buying $40,000 watches and complaining about board meetings." James pulled out of the parking space, following Isla's Honda at a respectful distance. "What are you going to do?" "Whatever it takes. I'm going to that school presentation Monday. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to keep showing up until she believes me." He looked at James. "What would your daughter say if she could see me now?" James smiled slightly. "She'd say what she always says. Dad, the only failure is giving up. Everything else is just learning." They followed Isla through Atlanta streets, from the trendy markets of the Old Fourth Ward to the quieter neighborhoods of Candler Park. Isla's apartment was in a small complex that had seen better days. The paint was fading. The parking lot had potholes, but the small patches of grass were neatly maintained, and someone had planted flowers in the common areas. Isla pulled into a space. Dominic watched her sit in the car for a moment, her head resting on the steering wheel like she was gathering strength just to walk to her door. His hands gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. "Stay here, James," he said, opening the door. "Sir," she said. I know what she said, but I can't watch her struggle and do nothing. Dominic crossed the parking lot. Isla was just getting out of her car, moving slowly, carefully, like her body hurt. "Dominic, I told you." "I know. I'm not coming in, I just—" He pulled out his wallet, took out every card he had. "Please take these for the medication, for treatment, for whatever you need." Isla looked at the cards like they were snakes. "No, Isla, please." I said no. Her voice was firm despite her exhaustion. "I didn't tell you about my illness so you'd throw money at it. I told you because Jordan needs a guardian, that's it. I don't want your money, Dominic. I never did." "Then what do you want?" Isla's eyes filled with tears she wouldn't let fall. "I want you to have been there. I want Jordan to know her father. I want to not be sick. I want a lot of things I can't have." She started walking toward her building. "But what I want from you right now is simple. Show up Monday, be consistent, earn her trust. That's worth more than all the money in your wallet." She disappeared into the building, leaving Dominic standing in the parking lot holding credit cards that meant nothing. That night, Dominic sat in his penthouse, staring at his phone. He'd pulled up Jordan's school website. Mary Lynn Elementary, public school. 3 stars on Great Schools.org, old building. Limited resources. He looked at his watch, the new one he put on after leaving the market. $5,000, more than some families made in 3 months. He took it off. Then he did something he hadn't done in years. He called Preston. "Yo," Preston answered, music thumping in the background. "What's good, you coming through? We're at Compound. I need your help," Dominic said. The music went quiet. Preston had moved somewhere private. "Talk to me." "How do I learn to be a father in 3 days?" Preston was silent for a beat. "Bruh, you can't. You learn by doing, by making mistakes, by showing up even when you don't know what you're doing." "That's what James said." "James is a wise man. Listen to him." Preston paused. "What happened at the meeting?" Dominic told him everything. Isla's illness, the ultimatum, the school presentation Monday. When he finished, Preston whistled low. "Damn, that's heavy, Dom." "I know. What's the plan?" "Show up Monday. Watch Jordan's presentation. Start building trust." Dominic rubbed his face. "And somehow figure out how to tell Vivienne that my entire life is about to change." "Oh damn, Vivienne." Preston sounded pained. "I forgot about Vivienne." "Yeah. When are you gonna tell her?" "Tomorrow. I'm taking her to dinner. I'll tell her everything." "How you think she's gonna take it?" Dominic thought about his fiancée, beautiful, controlled, perfectly curated Vivienne Hartford, the woman who planned their wedding like a military operation, who sent him calendar invites for quality time and scheduled sex like business meetings. "Honestly, I have no idea." Sunday evening, Canoe Restaurant in Vinings. Vivienne Hartford sat across from Dominic, looking flawless in a white silk blouse and tailored pants, her ash blonde hair perfectly smooth, her makeup expertly applied. "Been quiet all night," she observed, cutting her salmon into precise, identical pieces. "Is something wrong with the acquisition? Did Goldman back out?" "No, the acquisition is fine." Dominic hadn't touched his steak. "Vivienne, we need to talk." She set down her fork, immediately alert. "It's never a good opening." "No, it's not." He took a breath. 8 years ago, before I met you, I had a relationship with a woman. It was brief. One night, actually. Vivienne's expression didn't change, but her jaw tightened microscopically. "Okay. I thought it was just a one-time thing. I left the next morning and never contacted her again." "Dominic, if this is about your past, I don't need details. We've all had relationships before." "She was pregnant," Dominic said. "And I didn't know. She tried to find me, but I'd made myself unreachable, so she raised our daughter alone." Now Vivienne's expression changed. The fork in her hand trembled slightly. "Daughter. Her name is Jordan. She's 7 years old, and I just found out she exists 4 days ago." Restaurant noise faded to background static. Vivienne stared at him like he'd spoken another language. "You have a child," she said flatly. "Yes. A 7-year-old child. You're just now telling me this." 4 days after finding out, her voice rose slightly. "We're getting married in 3 months, Dominic, 3 months. The invitations are already sent, my dress is being fitted, and you have a secret child." People at nearby tables were starting to look. "Vivienne, please keep your voice. Don't tell me to keep my voice down." She stood abruptly, her chair scraping. "Did you think I wouldn't care, that I'd just accept this? I thought you'd understand." "Understand what?" "That my fiancé has a child with another woman. That our perfect life is about to be invaded by some." She caught herself, but the damage was visible in her eyes. "Somewhat?" Dominic stood too, his voice dangerously quiet. "Finish that sentence." Vivienne's face flushed. "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did. You meant some complication, some inconvenience to your perfect plans." He threw his napkin on the table. "Jordan isn't a complication, Vivienne. She's my daughter, and her mother is sick. And they've been struggling while I lived in luxury because I was too much of a coward to face what I'd done." "What?" Vivienne's eyes were hard now, cold. "You're going to play hero, rescue them. Is that what this is? This is me trying to be a decent human being. Where does that leave us? Our wedding? Our plans?" Dominic looked at the woman he'd planned to marry and felt absolutely nothing. No love, no connection. Just the hollow realization that they'd been business partners pretending to be in love. "I don't know," he said honestly. "I don't have all the answers, Vivienne, but I know I can't marry you while pretending my daughter doesn't exist. So you're choosing her, a child you just met, over everything we've built together. I'm choosing to be the man my mother raised me to be, the man I should have been 8 years ago." Vivienne's laugh was bitter. "How noble, how convenient that your redemption arc happens 3 months before our wedding." She grabbed her purse. "My father warned me about you. Said you were too focused on your past, that you couldn't commit to our future." "Your father," Dominic repeated. "This is about the Hartford-Walker merger, isn't it? That's what this wedding really is." "Be naive. Every marriage at our level is a merger. That's how it works." She leaned in, voice low and sharp. "But here's what you need to understand, Dominic. If you walk away from me, you walk away from my father's investors, from the Hartford capital backing your expansion, from every door my family has opened for you." "Then I walk away," Dominic said quietly. Vivienne's perfectly composed mask cracked. For just a moment he saw real hurt beneath the anger. "I actually cared about you. I thought we wanted the same things." "Did we do, but I want something more now, something real." "She's using you," Vivienne said, her voice shaking. "That woman. She waited 8 years, and now that you're a billionaire, suddenly you have a daughter. Think about it, Dominic. Think about the timing." Rage flashed through Dominic, white-hot and protective. Don't you dare suggest Isla is lying. Jordan is mine. I can see it in her face. And Isla didn't come to me. I found them. How convenient for her." "We're done," Dominic said. "This conversation, this engagement, all of it. I'm sorry, Vivienne. You deserve someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. But that's not me. It never was." Vivienne's eyes glistened with tears she'd never let fall in public. "You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's mine to make." She turned and walked out of the restaurant, her back straight, her head high, every inch the Hartford heiress who'd never let anyone see her break. Dominic sat back down at the table, his heart pounding, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. He opened it. It was a photo of Jordan. She was wearing a white lab coat that was way too big for her, holding a poster board with volcanoes. Nature's fireworks, written in careful kid handwriting. Her smile was huge, her eyes bright with excitement. Below the photo, a message from Isla. She's been working on this for 3 weeks, practicing her presentation every night. She wants to be a scientist when she grows up. Thought you should know what you're walking into tomorrow. Also thought you should know what you've been missing. P.S. I saw the news. Your engagement ending is all over social media. I hope that wasn't because of us. Jordan doesn't need that guilt. Dominic stared at the photo of his daughter in her too big lab coat, and something in his chest cracked wide open. He typed back, "It wasn't because of you. It was because of me finally figuring out what matters. I'll be there tomorrow." Front row, 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, we'll see. But this time, those 2 words felt different. This time, they felt like hope. Monday morning, Dominic woke up at 5 a.m., too anxious to sleep. He went to his home gym and ran on the treadmill until his legs burned, lifted weights until his arms shook. Did anything to quiet the chaos in his mind. At 8 a.m., Preston showed up at his door with coffee and bagels. "You didn't have to come," Dominic said, but he was grateful. "Bruh, you think I'm missing this? You're about to watch your daughter's science presentation. This is huge." Preston handed him a coffee. "Also, I brought emotional support. You look like you're about to pass out." "I might." "Don't. Kids can smell fear." They sat on Dominic's balcony, the Atlanta morning spread out below them. "You really ended it with Vivienne," Preston said. "Yeah, how you feel?" Dominic considered this. "Relieved, actually, like I've been holding my breath for 6 months and finally exhaled." "That's because you were marrying the wrong woman for the wrong reasons." "I know that now." Preston took a long sip of coffee. "Can I say something without you getting in your feelings? When has that ever stopped you? Proud of you, man. For real, the old Dom would have tried to handle this with money. Write a check, set up a trust fund, keep everything at arm's length." Preston met his eyes. "But you're showing up, you're doing the hard part, that takes guts." Dominic's throat felt tight. "I'm terrified, Prees." "Of what?" "Of seeing her and realizing I've missed everything that matters. First steps, first words, first day of school, 7 years of moments I can never get back." "You can't get them back," Preston agreed. "But you can be there for every moment from now on. That's what counts." At 3 p.m., James pulled the Bentley up to Mary Lynn Elementary. The building was old but well-maintained. Colorful murals covered one wall. A playground with slightly rusty equipment sat to one side. Kids' artwork filled every window. It was nothing like the private schools Dominic had researched. The ones with Olympic-sized pools and robotics labs and tuition that cost more than college. But it was Jordan's school, and that made it perfect. "Sir," James said gently, "you're gripping the armrest so hard you're turning white." Dominic forced himself to let go. "What if she sees me and gets confused?" "Isla said not to tell her yet." "Then you're just another parent in the audience. She won't know unless you tell her." Dominic nodded and climbed out of the car. The school hallway smelled like industrial cleaner and poster paint. Construction paper decorations hung from the ceiling. Lockers lined the walls, covered in stickers and doodles. He followed the signs to the cafeteria, converted for the science fair, and stopped dead in the doorway, because there she was, Jordan Elise Carter, standing next to her volcano model, wearing the same too big lab coat from the photo. Her hair was in 2 puffs again, this time with red ribbons. She was explaining something to a younger kid, her hands gesturing wildly, her face animated with excitement. She was brilliant, beautiful, perfect, and she was his. Dominic felt like someone had punched all the air from his lungs. "Mr. Walker," he turned. Isla stood behind him wearing scrubs. She must have come straight from work. She looked exhausted, but her eyes were soft as she watched Jordan. "You came," Isla said quietly. "I said I would." "A lot of people say things they don't mean." "Not a lot of people." They stood side by side in the doorway, watching their daughter shine. "She practiced her presentation 47 times, Isla said softly. "I counted." "She made me time her to make sure she stayed under 3 minutes. She researched plate tectonics and magma composition. She's 7 years old and she used the word pyroclastic correctly in a sentence. Pride radiated from every word. She gets that from you," Dominic said. "The dedication, the passion. Gets the stubbornness from you. When she decides something, nothing changes her mind." They shared a small smile. "Thank you," Dominic said, "for letting me be here." "Thank me yet. You've been here 10 minutes. Consistency is months, years." Isla glanced at him. "I saw the news about your engagement." "Yeah, I meant what I said. Jordan doesn't need that guilt. It wasn't about guilt, it was about honesty. I was marrying Vivienne for all the wrong reasons. Seeing Jordan just made me realize it faster. A teacher clapped her hands, calling for attention. Parents and families, please take your seats. Our presentations will begin in 5 minutes. Isla headed toward the front. Dominic followed. They sat in the second row, close enough to see Judden clearly, far enough back to not make her nervous. Other parents filled in around them. A mix of ages and races and income levels. Some in work clothes, some in suits, some in casual wear. All here for the same reason, to watch their kids share what they'd learned. Judden spotted them and her face lit up. She waved at Ulla, who waved back. Then Judden's eyes landed on Dominic. Her expression changed. Confusion. Recognition. A hint of that suspicious assessment from the bracelet stand. She leaned over to Ulla and whispered something Dominic couldn't hear. Ulla whispered back. Judden looked at Dominic again, her head tilted, thinking. Then she smiled, small, cautious. But real Dominic smiled back, his heart hammering. The presentations began. Kid after kid got up to explain their projects. Solar systems made of styrofoam balls. Plant growth experiments. A very ambitious attempt at explaining photosynthesis that involved a lot of hand gestures. Each parent beamed with pride. Each kid glowed under the attention. This was what family looked like, Dominic realized. Not boardrooms and business deals. Not charity galas and society pages, this. School cafeterias with peeling linoleum. Homemade science projects. Parents who rearranged their work schedules to be here. Finally, the teacher called Judden's name. She walked to the front, her two big lab coats swishing, her volcano model carried carefully in both hands. She set it down on the demonstration table, adjusted her poster board, and took a deep breath. Everyone. My name is Judden Ullaz Carter, and my project is called Volcanoes, Nature's Fireworks. Her voice was clear, confident. She'd practiced this. Most people think volcanoes are scary, and they can be, but they're also really important. Volcanoes helped create the atmosphere we breathe. They make new land. They're basically the Earth's way of recycling itself, which is pretty cool if you think about it. She pulled out a bottle of vinegar and a container of baking soda. Now I'm going to demonstrate an eruption using a chemical reaction. When I mix vinegar, which is an acid, with baking soda, which is a base, they react and create carbon dioxide gas. The gas builds up pressure and... She poured the vinegar into her volcano model. Red-dyed foam erupted from the top, flowing down the sides just like she'd planned. The audience applauded. Kids oohed and ahed. Judden grinned, gap-toothed and glowing. The real volcanoes are way more powerful, obviously, but the science is similar. Pressure builds until it has to release. That's nature's way. She looked directly at Ulla. My mama says people are like volcanoes sometimes. When we keep feelings inside instead of talking about them, the pressure builds until we explode. Better to let things out a little at a time. Ulla's eyes filled with tears. Dominic's chest felt too small for his heart. Thank you for listening, Judden finished, taking a small bow. The applause was loud and genuine. Judden beamed, looking first at Ulla, then almost shyly at Dominic. He clapped harder than anyone, not caring who saw, not caring about anything except the fact that his daughter was brilliant and beautiful, and he'd almost missed this. After the presentations, parents and kids mingled around the projects. Dominic hung back, not sure if he should approach, but Judden came to him. Mr. Walker, she said. You came to see my volcano. Did. It was amazing. You were amazing. Thanks. I worked really hard on it. She glanced at Ulla, who was talking to another parent. Mama said you're a friend. Is that true? Dominic knelt down to her level the same way he had at her bracelet stand. Would you like me to be your friend, Judden? She considered this with that serious, assessing look. I guess, you seem nice, and you bought all my bracelets, which was pretty cool. She touched the watch hanging around her neck. Also, you keep looking at this necklace weird. What? Dominic's breath caught. Be honest, a voice in his head said. Not the full truth yet, but honest. Because it reminds me of someone important. Someone I lost and wish I'd appreciated more when I had the chance. Judden nodded like this made perfect sense. My mama says we should tell people we love them while we can, because time is the one thing we can't make more of. Your mama is very smart. No, she's the smartest person I know. Judden smiled. Well, her and maybe my science teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, she taught me about plate tectonics. I ask you something, Judden. Sure. If you could have anything in the world, not toys or money, but anything, what would you want? Judden didn't hesitate. I'd want my mama to not be sick anymore, and I'd want. She stopped, looking down at her sneakers. What? It's silly. I bet it's not. She looked up at him with those eyes, his eyes, and said, I want to know my dad, not like, have him show up and be perfect, just know him. Know if he thinks about me sometimes. Know if he's sorry he's not here, she shrugged. But Mama says some wishes don't come true, so we focus on the ones that can. Damanuk felt something break inside his chest. Judden, he said carefully, what if your dad did think about you? What if he was sorry? What if he wanted to know you too but didn't know her? She studied his face for a long moment. And in that moment Damanuk saw it, the flicker of recognition, the question forming, the possibility dawning. Judden, come help me pack up your project. Allah called from across the cafeteria. The moment broke. I gotta go, Judden said. But Mr. Walker, if you see my friend from the bracelet, stand again. Tell him his daughter thinks about him too, even though she doesn't know him. She ran off before Damanuk could respond. He stood there in the middle of the cafeteria, surrounded by families and laughter and the sweet chaos of elementary school life, and felt tears burning in his eyes for the first time in years. Allah appeared beside him. She knows, she said quietly. Or she's figuring it out. She's too smart not to. What do I do? You keep showing up. You earn her trust. And when the time is right, when she's ready, we tell her the truth together. Allah looked at him, really looked at him. Can you do that, Damanuk? Can you be patient? Can you let her set the puss? Yes, he said without hesitation. Whatever she needs, whatever you both need, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. Allah searched his face for a lie and found none. Akka then, she said softly. This is your chance, don't waste it. That night, Damanuk's phone exploded, texts from business associates. Emails from investors. News alerts about his broken engagement. Atlanta's most eligible bachelor back on the muckat. Vivian Hartford and Damanuk Walker split. Inside the shocking breakup. Sussas say mystery woman caused engagement to unplug. Ha ignored all of it. Instead, he opened his laptop and started researching. Lupus treatment options, clinical trials, specialists, the best doctors in the country. He made lists, created spreadsheets, built action plans because this was what he knew how to do. Research, strategize, execute. But then his phone rang. Isla, hello? I need you to stop, she said without preamble. Stop what? I can see my medical records. Someone accessed them tonight. Someone with money and connections and a Walker Tech IP address. Dominic closed his laptop. I was just looking at treatment options. I told you I don't want your money. It's not about money. It's about keeping you alive so our daughter doesn't lose her mother. Silence then quietly. You can't fix this with research and resources, Dominic. This is my body, my illness, my choice about how to handle it. What if you're making the wrong choice? What if there's a treatment that could help but you can't access it because I'm poor? Isla's voice hardened. Say it. Because I don't have your billions to throw at the problem. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. You see a problem and you think money solves it, but some things can't be bought, Dominic. Some things just have to be lived through. I can't just stand by and watch you suffer. Then don't watch, be present, show up for Jordan. Let me handle my own medical care. She paused. I've been managing this for 3 years without you. I'll keep managing it. Me help, please. You want to help. Consistent. Be the father Jordan needs. Stop trying to play hero with your checkbook and actually do the hard work of being present. Her voice softened slightly. The volcano presentation, that mattered more than any medical bill you could pay. Do you understand that? Dominic thought about Jordan's face when she saw him in the audience, the way she smiled, the way she came over to talk to him after. Yeah, he said quietly. I understand. Now stop hacking my medical records and go to sleep. Jordan wants to show you her rock collection next Saturday at the park. 1 p.m. Candler Park Playground. Be there. Be there. We'll see, Isla said, but this time it sounded like belief. What Dominic didn't know was that across town, in a luxury high-rise in Buckhead, Vivian Hartford sat in her father's study listening to him rage. 3 months before the wedding and he ends it. For what? He has a daughter, Daddy. A child he didn't know about. Don't care if he has 10 children. We had a deal. Your marriage was going to secure the merger. Hartford Capital was going to invest $200 million in Walker Tech's expansion. Now what? Vivian stared at her father's red face, his expensive scotch sloshing in his glass, and felt something cold settle in her chest. Now I think we remind Dominic Walker that breaking promises has consequences, she said quietly. Her father's eyes gleamed. What did you have in mind? He cares about that woman, Isla Carter, and her daughter. Vivienne pulled up her phone, showing her father the investigator's report she'd commissioned. Single mother, works 2 jobs, public school, medical debt from lupus treatment. So people like that are vulnerable, easy to pressure, easy to encourage to leave Atlanta, for Jordan's sake, of course, better schools elsewhere, better treatment facilities for Isla's condition. Vivienne's smile was ice. All it would take is the right financial incentive or the right financial pressure. Her father's expression shifted from anger to calculation. You want to pay them off. I want to give them options. If Isla truly loves her daughter, she'll take the money and disappear. Give Jordan a better life somewhere else, away from a father who abandoned them once already. Vivienne leaned forward. And if Dominic is left alone again, missing his daughter, maybe he'll remember what he gave up. Maybe he'll come back. If he doesn't, then we destroy him. Hostile takeover. Corporate sabotage. I know where all of Walker Tech's vulnerabilities are, Dominic told me himself. Her voice went hard. He humiliated me, Daddy. He chose some broke event planner and her kid over everything I offered him. He doesn't get to win this. Her father raised his glass. That's my girl. They clinked glasses, sealing a plan that would change everything. Because while Dominic was learning to be a father, Vivienne was learning to be ruthless. And Isla, exhausted, sick, struggling Isla, had no idea a storm was heading her way. A storm with a checkbook and a grudge and the power to take away everything she'd built. The question was, when Vivienne made her move, would Dominic be strong enough to protect his family? Or would he lose them before he ever really had them? I know you're sitting there thinking, no, not like this. Don't do this to me. But that's exactly why you need to watch this story to the end. Let's continue the story, because it was more important. This was his daughter sharing her world with him, letting him in. Preston came back from basketball, sweaty and grinning. Yo, I destroyed those college kids. 40-year-old man still got it. You're 37, Dominic pointed out. 40's coming fast, my guy. Gotta claim my wins while I can. Preston looked at Jordan. So, Miss Jordan, what's the coolest rock you've got? Jordan immediately launched into an explanation of her quartz, showing Preston the way light passed through it. While they talked, Isla stood and gestured for Dominic to join her a few feet away. He walked over, suddenly nervous. She likes you, Isla said quietly. Like her. She's incredible, Isla. You've raised an incredible kid. We raised her, Isla corrected softly. Even if you didn't know it, she has your stubbornness, your curiosity. Your way of focusing on something until you completely understand it. She smiled slightly. The geology obsession, that's all you. I can barely tell a rock from a brick. Dominic's throat felt tight. Thank you for this, for letting me be here. Thank me yet, we still have a long way to go. Isla paused. I need to tell you something. Seriousness in her tone made Dominic's stomach drop. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, but... She took a breath. Jordan's been asking questions, smart questions. About you, about timing, about why you look at her the way you do. Isla met his eyes. She's going to figure it out, Dominic, soon, maybe today, maybe next week, but soon. What do you want to think? Isla looked at their daughter, laughing at something Preston said. I think we should tell her together, before she figures it out on her own and feels like we lied. Dominic's heart raced. When? Not today, let her have today, let this just be a good day. Isla's voice wavered slightly. But soon. Maybe next weekend. We'll sit down together, the 3 of us, and we'll tell her the truth. If she hates me, what if she's angry I wasn't there? Then we deal with it together. Isla touched his arm briefly. Kids are more resilient than we think, and more forgiving. She just needs to know you're choosing to be here now. Before Dominic could respond, Jordan called out, Mama, can we get ice cream, please? I promise I'll eat all my vegetables at dinner. Isla smiled. Yes, baby girl. Ice cream sounds perfect. Mr. Walker and Mr. Preston come too? Jordan asked hopefully. Isla looked at Dominic, a question in her eyes. I'd love to, Dominic said. Then it's settled. Jenny's ice cream, my treat. Isla grabbed her purse. Isla, let me, my treat, she repeated firmly. You can buy next time, next time. The words felt like a promise. Jenny's ice cream on Ponce was packed with Saturday afternoon crowds. They waited in line together, Dominic, Isla, Jordan, and Preston, looking like any other family out for weekend treats. Jordan pressed her face against the glass display, trying to decide between flavors. Brambleberry Crisp is good, the teenager behind the counter offered. But so is the darkest chocolate, Jordan said seriously. This is a very difficult decision. Both, Dominic said. 2 scoops. Jordan's eyes went wide. Mama, can I? Isla hesitated. Dominic could see her mentally calculating the cost of 2 scoops versus 1, but then she nodded. Special occasion, go for it. While Jordan ordered, Preston leaned over to Dominic. You're smiling, like really smiling. I don't think I've seen you smile like this since before your mom died. Feel like I've been holding my breath for 8 years and finally exhaled. That's because you have been. You've been so focused on building your empire you forgot to build a life. Preston clapped his shoulder. I'm proud of you, man. This is you finally getting it right. They got their ice cream and sat at a small table by the window. Jordan sat between Dominic and Isla, swinging her legs and alternating between her 2 flavors with intense concentration. Okay, so the brambleberry is winning, she declared after several thoughtful bites. But the chocolate is making a comeback. Scientific analysis, Dominic said, earning a grin. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again and again. You can check it, Isla said. I know you have work stuff. Nothing is more important than this, Dominic repeated what he'd said earlier. But the buzzing continued. Finally, Preston grabbed the phone. Dude, it's blowing up. Maybe just. His expression changed as he read the screen. Oh no. What? Preston showed him the phone. 23 missed calls, 15 texts, all from the same number, Vivienne. And one text that made his blood run cold. I tried to be reasonable. I gave you a chance to come back. Now you'll see what happens when you choose wrong. Check your email. Actually, don't. Too late now anyway. Dominic opened his email with shaking hands. The subject line made his stomach drop. From the desk of Jonathan Hartford, withdrawal of investment and intent to acquire. He scanned the email. Legal language. Cold. Precise. Devastating. Hartford Capital was withdrawing their $200 million investment in WalkerTech's expansion. Effective immediately. But that wasn't the worst part. Jonathan Hartford was launching a hostile takeover bid, offering WalkerTech shareholders 40% above current stock price. He was trying to buy Dominic's company out from under him. What is it? Isla asked. Reading his expression, Dominic looked up, his mind racing. I have to go, right now. I'm sorry. What happened? Business. A problem, a big problem. He stood, nearly knocking over his chair. James, but Jordan grabbed his hand. You said you wouldn't leave, she said quietly. The words stopped him cold. Everyone in the ice cream shop disappeared. The noise faded. All he could see was his daughter's face looking up at him with fear and confusion and the beginning of betrayal. I'm not leaving, Dominic said desperately. I just have to handle something at work. I'll come back, I promise. That's what they all say, Jordan whispered. Who says that? The dads at school who miss stuff. They always say I'll come back, but then they're too busy and they don't. Her eyes filled with tears she was too proud to let fall. You said you were different. Dominic knelt down, not caring about the ice cream shop floor or the people starring. Jordan, listen to me. I am different, and I will come back. But right now, my company, the thing I spent 15 years building, it's in danger. If I don't go right now, I could lose everything. You're losing this, Jordan said. Right now, you're losing ice cream with me. Truth of it hit him like a freight train. His phone rang. His CFO, he let it go to voicemail. Right, Dominic said. I'm losing this, and this matters more. He sat back down, turned off his phone completely, and picked up his ice cream. Mr. Walker, your company, Preston started. Can wait 30 minutes. I'm finishing ice cream with my daughter. Dominic looked at Isla. She had tears in her eyes. Dominic, if you need to go, she started. Don't. Whatever's happening can wait. This can't. Jordan's face transformed. The fear melted away, replaced by the biggest smile he'd ever seen. Really? You're staying? Really? Now tell me more about why the brambleberry is winning. I need detailed analysis. For the next 30 minutes, Dominic gave his daughter his complete attention. His phone stayed off. His company crisis could wait, because Jordan was right. He was different. And different meant choosing the moment over the meeting. The memory over the money. But what Dominic didn't know, what he couldn't know while he sat in that ice cream shop choosing his daughter, was that across town another meeting was taking place. A meeting that would test every choice he'd just made. 1 hour earlier, Vivienne Hartford had knocked on a door in Candler Park. Isla's door. She'd done her research. Knew Isla would be at the park with Jordan. Knew the apartment would be empty. But she'd also known Isla's mother, Ruby, was visiting from Savannah. Ruby Carter opened the door in her church clothes. She'd just gotten back from Saturday service and looked at the elegant white woman on her doorstep with immediate suspicion. Can I help you, Mrs. Carter? My name is Vivienne Hartford. I was Dominic Walker's fiancée. Vivienne's smile was perfectly calibrated, warm but not pushy. I was hoping I could speak with you for a few minutes. It's about Isla and Jordan. Ruby's expression hardened. What about them? May I come in? I promise I mean no harm. In fact, I'm here to help. Ruby clearly didn't believe that, but Southern hospitality won out. She stepped aside. 5 minutes, that's all you get. Vivienne entered the small apartment, taking in every detail. The worn furniture, the cheap curtains, the walls that needed painting. The textbook stacked on the coffee table. Isla was clearly taking classes. Nice place, Vivienne lied. What you came to say, Ruby said, not offering her a seat. Vivienne opened her designer purse and pulled out a folder. I know this is going to sound strange, but I care about Dominic. Even though our engagement ended, I want what's best for him, and I want what's best for his daughter. Jordan has a mother who wants what's best for her. She doesn't need you. Vivienne opened the folder, revealing financial documents, medical bills, credit card statements, rent arrears notices. I had these pulled by my investigator. Please don't be angry, I just wanted to understand the situation. Ruby's hands shook as she looked at the papers. How did you get these? Money can access anything, Mrs. Carter, but that's not the point. Vivienne's voice softened, practiced, and perfect. The point is, Isla is drowning. She's working 2 jobs while dealing with a serious illness. She's barely keeping a roof over their heads, and now Dominic is in their lives, which is wonderful, but what? But he's unreliable. He left Isla once already. What makes you think he won't do it again? Vivienne pulled out another document. This is a cashier's check, $5 million, made out to Isla Marie Carter. Ruby stared at the check like it was a snake. What is this? This is a fresh start. This is Isla getting the best lupus treatment in the country. This is Jordan going to the finest schools. This is security, stability, everything Dominic promises but has never actually delivered. Vivienne set the check on the coffee table. All Isla has to do is take it and move, somewhere with better medical facilities, better opportunities. Atlanta has nothing for her except struggle and a man with a pattern of abandonment. You're trying to pay her to leave. I'm trying to give her options she doesn't have. Look at these medical bills, Mrs. Carter. Isla is choosing between her medication and Jordan's school supplies, between doctor's appointments and groceries. Is that the life Jordan deserves? Ruby's eyes filled with tears. My daughter is doing the best she can. I know she is, and she's an incredible mother, but the best she can isn't enough when your child could have the best, period. Vivienne pulled out more papers. Here's information on Johns Hopkins Lupus Clinic, UCLA's Autoimmune Center, Mayo Clinic's experimental treatment program. These places could save Isla's life, but they're expensive. This money makes them possible. Would you do this? You don't care about Isla or Jordan. Vivienne's mask slipped for just a second, showing the hurt underneath. You're right, I don't know them, but I know Dominic. I know he's been obsessed with his past for 8 years. I know he built walls no one could break through. Know that chasing ghosts of what could have been will destroy him. She stood. I'm trying to save everyone, Mrs. Carter. Isla gets the help she needs. Jordan gets the life she deserves. Dominic gets to move forward instead of drowning in guilt. Everyone wins. Everyone except you. Survive. I always do. Vivienne walked to the door. Think about it. Talk to Isla. That check is good for 30 days. After that, she shrugged. After that, my father's takeover of WalkerTech will likely succeed. Dominic will lose his company, and all he'll have left is guilt and good intentions. Neither of those pay for lupus treatment. She left, closing the door softly behind her. Ruby Carter stood in her daughter's small living room, staring at a check for $5 million and felt the weight of an impossible choice. Back at Jenny's ice cream, Dominic finished his cone and checked his watch. Okay, I really do have to go now, but I'm not leaving. I'm just going to handle business and then coming right back. He looked at Jordan. Can I see you tomorrow? Maybe we could go to the Georgia Aquarium. I heard they have a new exhibit. Jordan's face lit up. Really? The aquarium? I've only been once and I was like 4, so I don't remember much. Then it's a date. I'll pick you up at. He looked at Isla. What time works? Isla hesitated. And in that hesitation, Dominic saw something. Worry, fear, indecision. Isla, what's wrong? Nothing. Tomorrow is fine. 10 a.m. But her voice was off. Dominic wanted to push to ask, but Jordan was there, beaming about the aquarium, and he didn't want to ruin the moment. A.m. I'll be there. He stood. Preston, I need you to drive. James is going to meet us at the office. What's happening? Preston asked as they walked to the car. War, Dominic said grimly. Jonathan Hartford just declared war. Walker Tech headquarters was chaos. Dominic's executive team filled the conference room, all talking over each other. Stock prices already jumping because of the takeover bid. Shareholders are calling, wanting to know if they should sell. Hartford's offering 40% above market value. Some of them are going to take it. Enough, Dominic said, his voice cutting through the noise. Silence fell. Someone explained to me calmly and clearly what's happening. His CFO, a sharp woman named Diana Chen, pulled up a presentation on the main screen. Jonathan Hartford filed a 13D with the SEC 3 hours ago, announcing his intent to acquire controlling interest in Walker Tech. He's offering $127 per share. Current trading price is $91. That's a 40% premium. He actually do this. If enough shareholders sell, yes. You personally control 38% of shares. Hartford needs 51% for control. That means he needs to convince at least 13% of other shareholders to sell. Will they? Diana hesitated. Some of them are. Considering it, the premium is very attractive, and Hartford is offering immediate cash, not stock options or future promises. Dominic's jaw clenched. Get me a list of every major shareholder. I'm calling each of them personally. There are 47 institutional investors and I don't care if there are 400. I'm calling every single one. This is my company. I built it from nothing. Hartford doesn't get to buy it because I broke up with his daughter. Preston whistled low. This is really about Vivienne. This is about power and revenge and a rich man who doesn't like being told no. Dominic loosened his tie. Diana, prepare a counteroffer, employee stock options, retention bonuses, whatever it takes to keep our key people from jumping ship. Sir, that will cost. I don't care what it costs. Do it. The next 3 hours Dominic worked. He called shareholders, made promises, reminded them why they invested in Walker Tech in the first place. Some were loyal, some were wavering. Some had already made up their minds to sell. By 8 p.m. he was exhausted, hoarse, and running on coffee and adrenaline. His phone, which he'd turned back on, showed 17 missed calls from Isla. His heart stopped. He called back immediately. She answered on the first ring. Where have you been? Working. The crisis I mentioned. What's wrong? Is Jordan okay? Jordan's fine. She's asleep. But Dominic, her voice cracked. We need to talk in person tonight. Happened, not over the phone. Can you come here now? The fear in her voice made his decision instant. I'm on my way. He stood, grabbing his jacket. Diana, keep working. I'll be back in an hour. Sir, we have the board meeting at 9. Reschedule it. Something more important came up. Preston caught up to him at the elevator. Where are you going? Isla called. Something's wrong. Do you want me to come? No, stay here. Keep the team focused. I'll call you if I need you. James was waiting by the Bentley. Miss Carter's apartment, sir. Yes, fast. Drive from Buckhead to Candler Park normally took 20 minutes. James made it in 12. Dominic ran up the stairs to Isla's second-floor apartment and knocked. The door opened immediately. Isla stood there, her eyes red from crying, her mother beside her looking equally distressed. What happened? Dominic asked. Isla stepped aside. On her coffee table was a cashier's check, $5 million made out to her. Vivienne came here, Isla said, her voice shaking. While we were at the park, she talked to my mama. She offered me this. She gestured at the check like it was poison. $5 million to take Jordan and leave Atlanta, to leave you. Dominic felt rage flood his system, white-hot and blinding. She did what? She said it was for Jordan's future, for my health, for the best lupus treatment. For schools and opportunities and everything I can't give her on my own. Isla's voice broke. And the worst part, she's right. Isla, no, she is, Dominic. Look at this place. Look at my medical bills. Look at the life I'm giving our daughter. Jordan deserves better than a mother who's too sick to play with her some days. Better than an apartment with leaks and a heater that barely works. Better than public school with 40 kids in a class and textbooks from 1995. Money doesn't make a better life, Dominic said desperately, says the man with billions. Isla laughed bitterly. You have no idea what it's like to choose between medication and electricity, between a doctor's appointment and groceries, between being present for your child and working enough hours to keep a roof over her head. Then let me help. Let me. What? Fix it. Buy your way into being father of the year, Isla shook her head. That's exactly what Vivienne said you'd do, make promises you can't keep, throw money at problems that money can't solve. That's not what I'm doing. isn't it? You sat in that ice cream shop for 30 minutes and turned off your phone and played hero. But where were you for the last 3 hours at your office, fighting to save your company, choosing your empire over being here? Accusation hit like a slap. That's not fair. You know Hartford is trying to destroy me. And you know I'm drowning and you want me to turn down a life preserver because it comes from the wrong person. Isla's voice rose. Do you know what $5 million means, Dominic? It means I could go to Johns Hopkins, get real treatment, maybe actually beat this thing instead of just managing it. It means Jordan could go to private school, have tutors, opportunities, a future that isn't limited by my medical debt. Also means leaving. That's the deal, isn't it? Take the money and disappear. Isla looked away. She suggested we'd be happier somewhere else, somewhere with better medical facilities, better opportunities, somewhere without me. You're considering it. It wasn't a question. Considering my daughter's future. I'm considering staying alive long enough to see her grow up. I'm considering whether my pride is worth more than her potential. Ruby spoke up for the first time. Baby, you don't have to decide tonight. That check is good for 30 days. 30 days, Dominic repeated. So this is a countdown. Hartford takes my company and Vivienne takes my family. Very coordinated attack. This isn't about you, Isla said fiercely. Not everything is about you, Dominic. This is about a sick woman trying to give her daughter the best life possible. This is about choosing between pride and practicality, between what I want and what Jordan needs. Jordan needs her father. She's gone 7 years without one. She could go another 70. Words were meant to hurt. They succeeded. I don't believe you mean that, Dominic said quietly. No, ask yourself this. If you had to choose between your company and us, what would you choose? Isla challenged. Your empire or your daughter, because that's exactly the choice Hartford is forcing, and we both know what you'll choose. That's not. You already chose it tonight. 3 hours at the office while I was here dealing with this. 3 hours where I couldn't reach you, where Jordan asked why Mr. Walker wasn't calling like he promised. Guilt crashed over him. I'm sorry, I should have called. I was trying to save your company, exactly. You were saving your company, not us, your company. Isla's shoulders sagged. Go home, Dominic, fight your corporate war, win or lose your empire. But don't ask me to wait around to see which version of you survives. Because Jordan and I can't afford to bet our future on a man who's still figuring out his priorities. Isla, please. My mama's right. I have 30 days. I'm going to use them to think, really think, about what's best for Jordan, not what's best for you, not what makes me feel good about us. What is best for my daughter? She walked to the door and opened it. Good night, Dominic. He wanted to argue, wanted to fight. Wanted to make her see that Vivienne was manipulating her, that this was all a trap, that $5 million wasn't worth losing each other. But the exhaustion in Isla's eyes stopped him. She was barely standing. This conversation was costing her energy she didn't have. Call you tomorrow, he said. About the aquarium. Jordan, don't, Isla said softly. Don't make promises when everything is in chaos. Don't get her hopes up if you can't deliver. I always deliver. We'll see. But this time, those 2 words didn't sound like hope. They sounded like goodbye. Dominic walked down the stairs in a daze. James was waiting by the car. Going to leave, James. Vivienne's going to win. She's going to pay them to disappear, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's always something you can do, Mr. Walker. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice to do it? Dominic climbed into the Bentley. His phone showed 43 new emails. Emergency board meeting scheduled for 6 a.m. tomorrow. Shareholders demanding answers, stock price fluctuating wildly. His empire was crumbling, and the family he just found was slipping through his fingers. Where to, sir? James asked. Dominic stared out the window at Isla's apartment building. A light was still on in her unit. He could picture her in there, staring at that check, weighing her daughter's future against her own heart. The office, Dominic said finally. If I'm going to lose everything, I'm going to lose it fighting. But what Dominic didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that upstairs in that apartment, Jordan had been awake. She'd heard everything, every word about money and leaving and choosing. And she'd made a decision of her own, a decision that would change everything. Because while adults were busy making complicated choices about money and pride and what was best, a 7-year-old girl was about to do something very simple, something brave. Something that would force everyone to finally tell the truth. The next morning, Sunday, 6 a.m., Dominic sat at the head of the conference table, his board of directors arranged around him like a firing squad. He'd been at the office all night. Hadn't slept. Hadn't eaten. Just strategized and planned and fought. His phone buzzed. A text from Preston, "You look like hell, my guy. When's the last time you slept?" Dominic didn't answer. The board meeting was brutal. 2 hours of questions he couldn't fully answer and accusations he couldn't fully deny. By 8 a.m., the vote was called. In favor of accepting Jonathan Hartford's counter-proposal to avoid hostile takeover, 3 hands went up. Opposed, 4 hands. He'd won. Barely. Motion denied. We fight the takeover. The board chairman looked exhausted. God help us all, Dominic stood. Thank you, I promise you won't regret this. Better not. 'Cause if we lose everything. Dominic was walking back to his office when his phone rang. Isla, his heart leaped. Maybe she'd changed her mind. Maybe she'd realized Vivienne was manipulating her. Maybe Dominic. Isla's voice was pure panic. Jordan is gone. World stopped. What? She's gone. I woke up and her bed was empty. There's a note. Oh God, there's a note. Isla was crying. It says gone to find answers. Back soon. Love, Jordan. Find answers about what? You. She heard us last night. Heard everything about you being her father, about the money, about leaving, and now she's gone and I don't know where, and Dominic was already running. I'm coming right now. Did you call the police? They said she hasn't been gone long enough. That kids run away all the time and come back. But Dominic, what if she doesn't? What if something happens to her? This is my fault. I shouldn't have let you in our lives. I should have. Stop. This isn't your fault. We're going to find her. Dominic burst through the lobby. James, start the car. He was on the phone with Isla, coordinating. Where would she go? Where does she like to hang out? The park, the library. Sometimes she goes to my mama's church. Isla's voice broke. She's 7 years old and alone in Atlanta, and it's my fault. It's not your fault, it's mine. I did this. I brought chaos into your life, and now, just find her, please. Find our daughter. Our daughter, she'd finally said it, and it might be too late. Dominic spent the next 3 hours searching. Preston joined him. James drove through every neighborhood. They checked Candler Park, the library, Ruby's church. Mary Lynn Elementary, nothing. Isla called every 15 minutes with updates. Still nothing. By noon, Dominic was frantic. Where would a 7-year-old go to find answers? He asked Preston desperately. I don't know, man. My kids run to their rooms when they're mad. They don't run away. Think. She's smart. She heard us talking. She knows I'm her father now. Where would she go? And then it hit him. The bracelet stand, Dominic said. The corner where I first met her, where she was selling bracelets. Would she go there? Because that's where her story with me started. That's where she had the watch. That's where everything changed. James was already turning the car around. 10 minutes later, they pulled up to the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Auburn Avenue, and there she was. Jordan Elise Carter, sitting on the same overturned milk crate, wearing the same purple sneakers, her hair in messy puffs because she'd done them herself without her mother's help. But she wasn't selling bracelets. She was holding a sign, handwritten in crayon. It read, "Looking for my dad. His name is Dominic Walker. If you see him, tell him I'm here." Dominic felt his heart shatter and rebuild itself all at once. He got out of the car slowly, not wanting to scare her. Jordan saw him and her face crumpled. She dropped the sign and ran straight into his arms. Dominic caught her, lifting her up, holding her tight while she cried into his shoulder. I heard you and Mama, she sobbed. I heard you say you're my daddy. Is it true? Are you really my daddy? Yes, Dominic whispered, tears streaming down his face. Yes, baby girl, I'm your daddy. I'm so sorry I wasn't there before. I'm so sorry. Didn't you tell me? Why did you pretend to just be Mr. Walker? Because I was scared. Scared you wouldn't want me. Scared I'd mess it up. Scared of everything. He pulled back to look at her tear-stained face. But I'm not scared anymore. I love you, Jordan. I've loved you since the moment I saw you. And I'm never ever leaving you again. Promise. I promise. On everything I am. On everything I have. I promise. Jordan threw her arms around his neck and held on like she'd never let go. Isla's car screeched to a stop behind the Bentley. She jumped out, running over. Jordan. Oh, thank God, Jordan. She pulled their daughter from Dominic's arms, checking her over. Don't you ever scare me like that again. Do you understand? Never. I'm sorry, Mama. I just needed to know. I needed to know if he was really my daddy. Isla looked at Dominic over Jordan's head, her eyes red and exhausted and full of something he couldn't name. He is, Isla said softly. He really is. Then why were you going to leave him? Why were you going to take that lady's money? Because I thought it was best for you. You didn't ask me what I thought was best. You didn't ask me what I wanted. Jordan looked between them with a wisdom beyond her years. I don't want money, I don't want a new city. I want my mama and my daddy together. Is that so hard? Out of the mouths of babes, Isla started crying. Baby, it's complicated. No, it's not. It's simple. Do you love daddy? Isla looked at Dominic, really looked at him. Yes, she whispered. I never stopped. Daddy, do you love mama more than anything? Dominic said without hesitation. Then why are you making it complicated? Grown-ups always make things complicated. Jordan crossed her arms. Just be together, love each other, love me, that's all I want. Dominic knelt down. Jordan, it's not that simple. There are things happening, business things, money things. I don't care about business. I care about us, about being a family. She looked at both of them. That mean lady, mama said her name is Vivienne. She's trying to break us apart, but we don't have to let her. We can choose each other instead. She's right, Preston said, walking over. The kid's absolutely right. You two have been letting other people make your choices. Hartford, Vivienne, fear, guilt. But what do you want, just you two? Forget everything else. What do you want? Isla looked at Dominic. Dominic looked at Isla. And for the first time in 8 years, they both knew exactly what they wanted. I want to stop running, Dominic said. From you, from fear, from the past, I want to fight for us. Really fight, not with money or grand gestures, with time, with presence, with everything I am. I want to stop being so proud that I can't accept help, Isla said. I want to stop pushing you away because I'm scared you'll leave again. I want. She took a shaky breath. I want to be a family, a real family. All three of us, Jordan beamed. See, that wasn't so hard. Despite everything, the chaos, the fear, the exhaustion, they all laughed. So what now? Isla asked. Dominic pulled out his phone. Now I make a call that's going to change everything. He dialed. Vivienne answered on the second ring. Dominic, finally ready to talk sense. The check you gave Isla, she's ripping it up right now in front of me. Isla's eyes widened, but Dominic nodded. She understood. She pulled the check from her purse and tore it in half, then in half again. And again, pieces of $5 million fluttered to the Atlanta sidewalk. Making a mistake, Vivienne said coldly. No, I'm making a choice. I'm choosing my family over your money, my daughter over your revenge, and I'm going to beat your father's takeover without your help. You can't. Watch me. Dominic hung up. He looked at Isla and Jordan standing there on the same corner where this all started, full circle. Have to go fight Hartford. It's going to take everything I have. I might lose my company. I might lose my fortune, but I won't lose you, either of you, never again. Do you need, Isla asked, need you to believe in me? To trust that I'm different now. To give me a chance to prove that I can be the man, the father you both deserve. If you lose the company, Dominic looked at his daughter, at the woman he'd loved for 8 years without admitting it. Then I lose it because I already won. I found you, both of you, and nothing, not Hartford, not Vivienne, not all the money in the world, is worth more than this. Jordan grabbed both their hands. So we're really a family now. For real, Dominic and Isla said together. Good. Because I have so many rocks to show you still, Daddy, like so many. This is going to take years. Got years, Dominic said. I've got forever. Weeks later, the battle for Walkertech was brutal. Hartford threw everything at them, lawyers, money, political pressure. But Dominic fought back with something Hartford didn't expect, honesty. He went public, told his story, about finding his daughter, about choosing family over empire, about what really mattered. The media went crazy. Gives up fortune for secret daughter. Atlanta CEO chooses family over company in hostile takeover. Redemption. Dominic Walker's journey from absent father to family man. Public opinion swung in his favor. Shareholders who'd been wavering decided to stick with him. Small investors bought stock to support him. And Hartford's takeover failed by 1%, but it was enough. Vivienne called one last time. You won, she said simply. Both did. You deserve someone who actually loves you, Vivienne, not someone who is using you as a shield against real feeling. A long pause. I hope she's worth it. They both are. Goodbye, Dominic. Goodbye. 6 months later, December, snow was falling on Atlanta, rare and magical. Dominic stood in Isla's apartment, their apartment now. He'd moved in 3 months ago, not to some mansion in Buckhead, but here, to Candler Park. To the life that mattered, they'd made changes, fixed the heater, painted the walls, made it home. Isla's lupus was being managed. She was in a clinical trial that was showing promise. She'd cut back to one job, was taking classes again. Jordan was thriving. Still at Mary Lynn Elementary, she didn't want to change schools, still collecting rocks, still brilliant and funny and perfect. And Dominic had stepped back from WalkerTech's day-to-day operations, promoted Diana Chen to CEO, became board chairman. He coached Jordan's Science Olympiad team. He made dinner 3 nights a week. He was present. "Daddy, it's snowing. Can we go play?" Jordan pressed her face against the window. "Let me check with Mama first." Isla emerged from the bedroom wearing his old sweatshirt, her hair in a messy bun. "Beautiful, always so beautiful. Can we go play in the snow?" Dominic asked. She smiled. "Only if you promise to build a proper snowman. None of that half-hearted nonsense. Promise full-hearted snowman only." They bundled up, Jordan in her purple winter coat, Isla in layers, Dominic in jeans and boots that actually saw regular use now. Outside, the neighborhood was transformed. Kids everywhere, families playing, life happening in real time. Jordan made snow angels, Dominic and Isla built a snowman, and for the first time in 8 years, maybe in his entire life, Dominic felt complete. "Hey," Isla said softly, while Jordan was distracted finding the perfect rocks for the snowman's eyes. "Yourself." "Been thinking about how you asked me something 6 months ago and I never answered." Dominic's heart started racing. "What question?" Isla pulled something from her pocket. The ocean-colored friendship bracelet Jordan had made, the one she'd given Dominic that first day. "You asked if I believed in you, if I trusted you'd stay." She tied the bracelet around his wrist. "I believe, I trust, and Dominic, yeah, love you. I've loved you for 8 years. I'm sorry it took me so long to say it out loud." Dominic pulled her close. "I love you too. I've loved you since that first night. I was just too broken to admit it." They kissed, soft and sweet, while snow fell around them. "Mama and Daddy are kissing," Jordan yelled, throwing a snowball at them. They broke apart laughing. "You asked for it." Dominic scooped up snow. A snowball fight erupted. Laughter, joy, family, this was wealth, Dominic thought as Jordan tackled him into a snowdrift. This was success, not the penthouse or the company or the billions. This, right here, right now, time spent with people who loved you, moments that money couldn't buy, a family built not on DNA but on choice, on showing up, on being present. "I got you, Daddy," Jordan declared, sitting on his chest in victory. "You sure did, baby girl. Do I get a prize? What do you want?" Jordan looked at Isla, then at Dominic, her face serious. "Want us to always be like this, happy together, a real family." "That's not a prize," Dominic said. "That's a promise, and I don't break my promises anymore. Never ever, never ever." Jordan stood up. "Now come on, the snowman needs arms." She ran off, leaving Dominic and Isla sitting in the snow. "We did it," Isla said quietly. "We actually did it. We're doing it, present tense, every day." Dominic stood and helped her up. "And every day I'm choosing this, choosing us." "Me too." They joined their daughter, building a snowman in a neighborhood that would never be featured in luxury magazines. And Dominic had never been happier. That night after Jordan was asleep, Dominic sat at the small kitchen table with a cup of tea. His phone buzzed. An email from Preston. "Yo, check this out." Attached was a news article. Vivienne Hartford engaged to Nobel Prize winner Dr. Marcus Chen. There was a photo. Vivienne smiling, really smiling, not her practice society smile, next to a handsome Asian man in glasses. Below, Preston had written, "Looks like everybody got their happy ending, bruh, even the villains." Maybe she wasn't a villain after all. Maybe she was just the wrong person at the wrong time. "Anyway, proud of you. You chose right." Dominic smiled and typed back, "We all chose right." That's the point. He put down his phone and looked around the small apartment. At the rocks Jordan had arranged on the windowsill, at the photos on the fridge, all from the last 6 months, at Isla's medical textbook stacked neatly on the shelf, at the life they were building, one choice at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time. His phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number, asterisk, "This is Ruby. Isla's mama. Just wanted to say thank you for proving me wrong, for showing up, for being the man my daughter and grandbaby needed. You're a good man, Dominic Walker. Welcome to the family, asterisk." Dominic felt tears in his eyes. He'd spent 15 years building an empire, but it took 7 days to find a home. 3 years later, Jordan was 10 now, still brilliant, still collecting rocks. But now she was also on a competition science team that had won regionals. Isla's lupus was in remission. The clinical trial had worked. She'd finished her degree. Was running her own event planning company, small but successful. Dominic had sold WalkerTech 2 years ago, started a foundation instead, helping single parents afford childcare and healthcare. They'd moved to a small house in Decatur, 3 bedrooms, a yard, a garden where Jordan grew tomatoes for her science project, not luxurious, but home. And on a Saturday morning in May, Dominic woke up to Jordan jumping on the bed. "Daddy, I found it. I finally found..." "What?" He mumbled, still half asleep. "The quartz. Real quartz from Piedmont Park. I had it tested at the lab at Georgia Tech. Mr. Preston's cousin works there and he helped me, and it's real. My favorite rock is actually valuable." Dominic sat up, looking at his daughter's face so much like his own but with her mother's smile. "Valuable? Like maybe $50. Which is so much for a rock I found when I was 7. Isla appeared in the doorway, laughing. "She's been up since 5 a.m. "Couldn't wait to tell you. $50 is very impressive," Dominic said seriously. "I know, Mama said I can use it to buy more science books," Jordan bounced. "Or maybe save it for college. I'm gonna be a geologist, you know, study rocks for real." "I know, you're going to be amazing." "Know that too," she grinned. "Okay, I'm going to go catalog it in my collection book." "Love you, Daddy." She bounded out of the room. Isla slid into bed beside him. "She's incredible." "Gets it from you. It's the confidence from you. The stubborn determination. That's all Dominic Walker DNA." He pulled her close. "Best thing I ever did was get stuck in traffic on MLK Drive 3 years ago. Thing I ever did was let you back in." They lay there, listening to their daughter narrate her rock collection in the other room, and felt the kind of contentment that money couldn't buy. Because Dominic had learned the lesson his mother tried to teach him before she died, the lesson his father never understood. The lesson written on the watch he'd given Isla 8 years ago. Time stops for no one, but love makes every second count. And every second with his family counted for everything. But before you go, I need you to think about something. This story, Dominic and Isla and Jordan's story, it's about choices. About the difference between what we build and who we build it with. About running away versus showing up. About letting pride and fear destroy us versus choosing vulnerability and love. Every single day we make choices. Small ones, big ones. Choices about who we prioritize and what we value and whether success is measured in dollars or in moments. Dominic had everything. Money, power, empire, but he was empty until he found what really mattered. So here's my question for you. What are you building? An empire? Or a family? What are you choosing? Your image? Or your truth? Who are you showing up for? Your ego? Or the people who actually need you? Because time stops for no one. And the watch keeps ticking. And one day you'll look back and realize that the moments you thought were interruptions were actually the whole point. Don't wait 8 years to figure that out. Don't wait until you see your child wearing a watch you gave to someone else to realize what you missed. Choose now. Show up now. Love now. The rest. The money, the titles, the empire, it means nothing if you're standing in it alone. If this story touched you, if it made you think, made you feel, made you want to be better, share it. Share it with someone who needs to hear that second chances exist. Share it with someone who's choosing all the wrong things. Share it with someone who forgot that family isn't biology, it's choice. And hit that subscribe button because stories like this, they matter. They remind us what we're here for. Drop a comment telling me, what's your version of the watch? What's the one thing you'd go back and change if you could? What's the moment you missed that you wish you could get back? Let's talk about it. Let's learn from each other. Because we're all just trying to figure this out. We're all just trying to build lives that matter, and maybe, just maybe, stories like this help us remember what actually counts. Thank you for being here, for watching, for caring. Now go hug the people who matter. Tell them you love them, choose them, show up, before time runs out and the watch stops ticking. See you in the next story.